So yeah, we're back to Zoom version.
Yeah,
Connor's had an interesting evening chasing a small little black dog through the streets of Liverpool till
yeah,
4 in the morning.
yeah,
So we're gonna do a slightly abridged version. Again, we're kind of because we're in a little bit of flux at the minute. We're kind of just ticking along. I think making sure that we're just keeping regular with this
yeah,
more
100%.
than anything at the minute, while we're behind the scenes trying to sort out loads of plans and stuff.
Yeah, 100%.
Um, I thought quite an interesting thing to go through today is um, like one of the main things going on in my life at the minute is sorting out my wedding for next year and
Yeah,
uh, how different it is to try and sort your own wedding as a wedding musician compared to like what it might be if you've never had
the other side.
any wedding
Yeah,
experience before. So quite rightly so, some of the stipulations from Alex about how to sort our wedding out involved, because it's our wedding and we want to make it unique, having some sort of restrictions about it being nowhere that I've played before. Um, I think she was one of the things that I think you get to see that not most people other get to see when you're working in the wedding industry is you see the behind the scenes, right? And you see the sort of churn of the numbers of weddings that happen all the time at all of these venues. So like you might play a wedding on a Friday night at pick X country manor in Cheshire, and literally the next morning, as those guests from the night before are leaving, the guests for the next day are turning up.
yeah,
Um, and it's a funny little lie you've kind of got to tell yourself when you engage in a venue that has, literally multiple weddings every weekend.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's kind of crazy, isn't it?
you get
Because
your little capsule of
yeah,
moment
yeah, yeah.
that you
Because
live
in the moment,
inside.
it's your wedding venue. It's
Yeah,
and it's crazy from the behind the scenes perspective. I've noticed 100% myself. It's definitely crazy how it kind of is almost a conveyor belt
yeah.
of like just like
Well,
get
the,
them
the
in.
the venues are built for that purpose. The way the staff work, the way the event is all organised is so that some area can start getting cleared up early on the day of one wedding to be ready for the next bit of the wedding. And like if
Yeah,
you see behind the scenes in all the kitchens and stuff, it's just a funny thing.
100%.
And I
Yeah,
think one of the things that I had to get used to um, is we've talked about it before, how you can turn up to someone's wedding and it might be your first gig of the weekend, it might be your fifth gig of the weekend, it might
yeah,
not be your only wedding that weekend,
yeah,
and you've still got to turn up fresh faced
yeah, yeah,
with the sort of wherewithal to live in this is their bubble, this is their time to have their special day, their special wedding day.
yeah,
And you've got like it's even funny when like a small version of it is if on like a Saturday afternoon you'd have an afternoon garden party and then an evening other private party, and you're there for both things that are their own unique
yeah,
special events, but you're
yeah,
turning up to the second one having already been to another different dislocated party that day.
100%.
And it's
Yeah.
a funny little switch in your brain you've got to flip to go fresh again and be like, hey guys, again,
I've seen
ready to
this
go.
with like I've seen people talk about this with like celebrities, right? And it's like, you're a big famous person. For you, you just walk around, and you meet people. It's like, hi, you okay? Blah, blah, blah. Next person, hi, you okay? But to the other person, that's such a big special moment in their life.
Hmm.
Like, oh, I got to meet my hero. So everybody they meet, they've got to be like, I've got to try and be like, you
Fresh
know what I
faced as
mean? Like
possible,
I've
yeah.
got, yeah, yeah. It's like, everyone you meet and whatever, you've got to be on your best behavior. You've got to be in your best, you've got to be happy, jolly, because it only takes, because to you, you might be a bit grumpy one day and whatever, but to them, that's the only time that and it's the same with us in the sense of a lot of the people we do and sort of like perform at parties for and stuff, we maybe only see them once a year at a party, or we'll see them once every couple of years, or maybe only once ever. And it's like if you are in a bad mood because you've done 5 weddings or whatever that week, and I
Why
mean,
would that put you in a bad mood, Connor?
it
Surely that would
would be
put
a
you in a
good week.
great
I mean,
mood.
I'd be booking a holiday the next week. No, but if you were, if you were obviously in a position where you were just knackered, or you're in a bad mood, and then that's the only, like, you're this person that they've seen on the internet. They've like, oh, look at a social, oh, like all these places played. They're looking forward. The amount of texts I get from people saying, we can't wait to finally meet you. Like, we've
Yeah, it's
followed you.
so weird that you
It's
might,
weird.
yeah,
Yeah,
the fact that someone could book you online just seeing what your content's like and you turn
yeah,
up
yeah,
on
yeah.
the wedding day. It's like I don't know, I've talked about it a few times. There's a couple of things that I was thinking about in my head then.
Yeah.
Um, I think I'd be like that with some people. Like, who would you, not a sports person or a footy player because it's too obvious, but who would you fangirl that's like a slightly weird niche person? Like if you pick any of the podcasts that you listen to regularly or I listen to regularly, you've
Yeah,
heard them speak for hours and hours and hours and hours, and you feel weirdly like you know them.
yeah, I know what
It's
you mean.
always that weird one way relationship thing. And if you met them in person, they've never met you before. They don't know who the fuck you are, but you know all this weird, like intricate shit about their lives. It's so
Yeah.
weird that that can be a thing.
I remember the other month, obviously at St James's Park, seeing Sam Fender, and like where our seats were by the stage was like you could see the backstage, you could see him doing like walking out from the dressing rooms to the
Yeah.
onto the stage and stuff. I mean, it's like we were really close to him, and when we could see him like walking down a thing, it was such a weird thing of me being like, oh my God, like that's Sam Fender, like that's really Sam Fender in real life. And then a part, yeah, as a musician also thinks he's literally just the same as you. Like, obviously the stage is much bigger, he's getting paid much more money, but he's just going out to do his job and sing songs and get off. But it's crazy how you get that sort of, and I feel like in the past, people who got that treatment were like these big Hollywood stars, who were whatever, big record deals. Now the internet is literally giving people this aura around them, isn't it? Of like, if
Well, it's like if you meet any of the people who've got like massive podcasts and stuff now, like it'd be
yeah,
so hard for me to not be like, oh my God, and like proper
I know.
fangirl.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. It's weird, isn't it? Because, like I say, it's kind of like you've been the silent friend that
Yeah,
they
but
were.
it is genuinely like that because I think one of the things that podcasts is changing is it's becoming so much more chatty, like
Mhm.
less.
Yeah,
When podcasts first came out, it was like every episode was researched. Loads of them were true crime things that are almost
feel
like,
like a lecture, didn't it?
yeah, they're almost
Basically.
like radio shows. They're
Yeah,
like it's scripted to some extent. I think it's moving a lot more now towards like about a vague topic, but it's people chatting. There's
yeah,
so many podcasts that are just a conversation that's been recorded.
yeah,
But it is like you're sat in with a group of people as the silent part of the conversation. I think that's
yeah,
why it's quite nice to. I don't know about you, but we were talking about screen time the other day.
yeah.
The reason that my screen time is ever ridiculous is actually that me having 5 hours screen time a day on my phone was surprisingly minimal. That was
Yeah,
like,
because I remember you saying it was like 8, 9 hours,
yeah,
and then when
it has
I was like, oh, that's
previously been.
yeah.
So I must be doom scrolling less nowadays, which is nice to think.
I have noticed, which is stupid, and I don't agree with this, but whatever. But have you noticed that it actually adds to your screen time from CarPlay in the car?
Oh,
Like,
right, okay.
it's like, I mean, yeah, technically there's a screen on, but I'm kind of watching the road and just glancing at the maps or whatever. Like, I'm not staring at that.
I thought you
Like,
were going to say, I'm kind of watching the road, kind of watching Netflix. It's not 100% screen
yeah.
time.
No, no, but I mean, like, obviously, if that means then it kind of defeats the object because I go, right, I want to keep my screen time down. I'm monitoring my screen time. But then if I'm like, okay, I've got to drive down to like the south of the country to do a wedding or
For a
something,
5 hour drive, you're like, whatever.
yeah, all of a sudden my screen time's gone up to like 9 hours, 10 hours, and it's
Yeah, what
not.
was yours? 13 hours this week?
But that's shit. Obviously,
Apple
I've
TV
got
and
a very big Apple ecosystem thing in my house. I just basically got. I remember like a bit of a weird Apple fanboy story, but I got a. I always wanted a MacBook Pro when I was a kid, to make music on Logic.
Yeah.
because like all my favorite artists were going on about Logic and MacBook Pros and stuff. So I remember in 2012 specifically, I like my parents got me like the new MacBook Pro or whatever, and since I got that, like I have just always been on Apple, to be honest. Like I've, it's just always worked for me.
Yeah.
And and it's so funny because as someone who follows, especially in music as well, we're kind of techie people, aren't we? I mean, and as someone who follows a lot of tech stuff, like I still know that technically Apple doesn't have the best stuff or the best technology or whatever, but it
It's a
works.
seamless integration actually for us. We're not doing much coding. We use the programs rather than do any like actual
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
technical, real
That's,
complicated stuff.
yeah, yeah. I
Because
think it's definitely aimed at creatives and things as
yeah,
well.
they're tools rather than like the
Yeah,
building
yeah,
blocks.
I think so.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
but
like
yeah,
when you think like which DAW, if you use Logic or Ableton or any of that. I've always said that I will learn how to use Ableton at some point, just to be able to
so
do the live
yeah,
stuff, even if
the
it's
live
not
stuff.
even if it's not to perform live, to be able to like do those live looping videos, where it's Ableton syncing everything for
You
you.
know that Mark Sibilia guy is
Mark Sibilia.
something like that. That I might be pronouncing a second name wrong because I think it's like a foreign name, so I've
Okay.
probably done it justice. But he
Mark Sibilia.
basically he basically did a load of
No, Mark Rebier. Is that what you're talking about?
no, but he's sick. No, his name is like Mark Sabi. He's on like UK tour at the moment or whatever. It's Mark Marc, and
Yeah.
then Sibilia is
Oh,
Scibilia for the listeners at home who want to search what I'm talking about as well. Basically, he started out his first like loads of videos is literally him in what I'd imagine is Ableton, and he's
yeah.
basically doing those loop videos where the camera pans around, but he plays guitar and then he jumps on a piano and fills
It's
it
like
in.
Younger. It's like that other guy I showed you, Younger.
Yeah. So, but the thing is, that guy started doing that in a home studio, or whatever, right? And it was so good, and he got so big off it that now he's doing a tour. And in the tour, he's live looping all of the songs, and people are just in awe, like watching him, like
Yeah.
build up these songs on stage and stuff. So the live looping thing is cool. Am actually I'm making a bit of a plan at the moment with my social media through the winter, and I'm trying to come up with some ideas. Some of it will be in here, which I've been semi building. I've got keyboards here and a drum kit there and
Yeah.
whatever. I've been sort of building up the this
You
this
need to get some posters and art on the wall,
yeah,
mate.
I know, but it's hard with these
The
acoustic
panels and stuff. Yeah.
panels. They're just everywhere. But what I can tell you is they make a humongous difference when you record anything. It's so damp, you know what I mean? It's so kind of
Yeah.
damp. But I'm trying to come up with content stuff and whatever for the winter to try and boost sort of bookings for next year. It's trying to find that motivation to do it because again, I mean, not in an arrogant way, but obviously, like we've already got quite a lot of content out there. A lot of bookings just naturally come in. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I've
I think
had
that's
quite
the tricky thing for us is finding that next bit of motivation to do the next thing. So we've both got to the point
yeah,
where the machinery behind what we're doing and how exposed we are to
yeah,
people who might book us for work is currently at a good point.
yeah,
It can always be improved, but because from this year we've both seen that you can fill your calendar with good, well-paid work. It's hard to think that you need to keep moving forward rather than just letting what's working keep working.
yeah.
Um, Obviously, you can improve stuff, but I would love to get to a point where I've got a schedule in place that is, one day of a week is recording all of my social media content for the next few
That's what I
weeks and
mean.
stuff.
But for me, the way it feels like at the moment is it's like if you've got a fire going and it's like you can just stand there and do nothing and it'll burn for a long time. It'll keep burning. but eventually it will die down, right?
Yeah,
So every once in a while you got to throw some, some more firewood on
fuel
the
and
fire,
stuff on it.
whatever,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And the thing is like I'm at the point where I've realized through the summer, because we've been that busy, I've been doing that thing of just letting the fire burn, the work's coming in, whatever.
Yeah,
But
my
I'm like,
content's been from the busyness of all of the schedule of private party and weddings. Like in my head, being able to post out what my gigs are for that week and being able to post out one or two live videos of a party going off. That's the
yeah,
content that I needed to keep everything going through the summer. The
100%.
work becomes a bit thinner on the ground around this time of year. Saying that, I have had still some like kind of mad busy weekends, but in the summer it feels like you need to do less to keep ticking along. This is the time of
Yeah,
year where you're kind
yeah,
of going like, what's next? What's the new thing I need to add in?
yeah,
Um,
100%.
because
It's
I
it's
mean,
it,
we've both done it before. We've both got videos on our pages of us setting up. It's literally as simple as getting my little um, like audio workstation or whatever and just playing covers filmed like this and posting them online.
that
That's enough.
that's it.
But it's just
That's
like
yeah,
I'm good at doing it once or doing two or three little videos on one day,
yeah.
and then I'll have them and post them or whatever. But I never. I'm quite bad at like continued discipline on those scheduled
Whereas
filming days.
I am like that as well, and then I'll go online and I'll see somebody who's another musician or something that I know, who I know posts every day, or on the stories, and every few days they're posting a reel or whatever. And I constantly see them getting better and better, and I constantly see their following going
Yeah,
up.
it's a really good way for us to try new songs into our set. It's a good way of being able to play stuff that you wouldn't get away with playing live, like more
Oh yeah,
interesting music or
yeah,
not the
yeah,
most obvious song or a B side from a band you like, because you can get
100%,
away with it a bit more.
100%.
Um,
Yeah.
and
No,
you can,
I agree. That's what
yeah,
I'm gonna try to do, and I've just been speaking as well about try. It's going to be hard in the winter, but I've just been speaking about maybe trying to go out to places like sort of scenic places,
yeah,
almost because it fits with the wedding theme. You know what I mean? Of like go and find a lake, and dress nice in a nice shirt, whatever, in front of a lake, playing a nice sort of acoustic rendition or something. Like I think sort of staggering that stuff, the high quality stuff, because obviously a lot of my like the gig videos is on my phone, and I think that works great because people are so used to like user generated content now, like people are used to it.
I
However,
think yeah, the single best advert we can do for what we are trying to sell is just a video of a party in real life, filmed
it all
just on a phone of the party going off.
yeah,
I think that's
yeah,
the single clearest, most transparent piece of content that we can put out there
yeah.
is us literally doing the job.
Yeah. But what I want to try and do is have something whereby, say, if you look at like a
It's like
top
show reels, but in a different name, isn't it? It's like the
yeah,
modern way of doing it.
100%, and they're like, instead of a show reel being like song, 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 it's split up between, okay, if you're scrolling down, this is
Yeah.
how I want it. If you're scrolling down, it goes right. Here's a video of me at a party, everyone dancing, great. Oh my god, so we can do the job in real life, brilliant,
Yeah.
right? It's almost evidence. It's like I can back up what I'm
Yeah.
saying here
100%.
on the non-live posts. So then, so you got that, everyone's go, you scroll down, and the next one is like some kind of, more personal content, maybe like, a behind the scenes of me setting up for a gig, whatever, right?
Yeah,
Then
you need to just have like good rotation and everything. Hey guys, hope everyone's enjoying the episode so far. Please remember to go and follow us online,
yes,
TikTok, Instagram, all those places. Like and comment on this. You can book us for any private parties, events, weddings, whatever it is. Drop us a message on our socials. Come see us live. We're playing every weekend around the Northwest. Let's get back into the episode.
yeah, 100%. That's what I mean. Covers, like you say, setting up in the room, playing
Yeah.
a cover, whatever.
In the
Just
studio, out in the wild, behind the scenes, real gig footage, the odd little bit of tips and tricks and stuff as well, maybe like
100%. I think like the tips and tricks for our audience in terms of like people who are getting married and stuff. You know what I mean?
because
Obviously,
it's easy enough for like we can pitch it both ways, looking out and looking in. So it could be advice
yeah,
for bride and grooms when booking live music. and you just film talking about a topic for a minute or whatever, that would do well. That would do well
Yeah,
because like bride and groom content is just insanely big at the minute. It
yeah.
might also be my algorithm pushing me loads of that at the minute because I am currently a groom booking a wedding.
You are
Um,
being targeted by your own
Myself, yeah,
demographic.
it'd be so funny if it got like, you might like to follow this, and it's my own video.
Yeah, yeah, no, literally. But it's interesting you being on the other side of the pond because you'll obviously learn a lot of stuff as well that we just we don't know yet. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and it's almost seeing how other vendors work.
Yeah,
Like, we
yeah.
had a call with the photographer who's coming out to Italy with us, and it's just funny noticing the similarities in how they talk and present themselves and the differences in how they talk and present themselves.
Yeah,
And like, it's funny. It's just kind of grounding because I'm living in both worlds at the same time as the
yeah.
client and as a vendor.
Do you tell them when you
Yeah,
speak to
yeah,
them?
yeah. It's
Oh,
that if I it could only help. It could only help because we can jump some conversations. Because with some vendors, when they're talking to bride and groom, it's the first time they've done any of this. It's the first real exposure to thinking about the planning of a wedding they might have ever had. They might literally not know how the day works, like what order
yeah,
things normally happen in, what
yeah,
extra things you need to think about. They might never have gone through the process before. And I think just because I've got like the relevant experience that I've got, if I let people know that, then we can kind of jump 3 steps down the conversation
yeah, yeah,
and have
100%.
a deeper, more meaningful conversation sooner. So,
I like that. I like that. Yeah,
yeah. So,
stressful, but
yeah,
also,
deposits are great when they're coming in. They're not so great when they're going out.
yeah, I can
That's the
imagine.
thing that I'm currently grinding against. Trying to keep my earnings nice and steady and up at the minute and getting a lot of work
And
in for myself.
most people working off 20%.
Yeah, it varies. That people do it. People have been, I've seen quite a lot of payment schedule stuff. So 25% to lock it in, 25% in 3 months, and the rest like 6 weeks before the date.
Yeah, yeah. Because I have so many people message me, literally two people yesterday, and they said,
Do you offer
just check,
Klarna?
just checking, just checking when final payments due, and I'm
Yeah.
just like, yeah, like on the,
Well,
I don't.
you just get in what you think you're comfortable with. We've said a week before, but I know people do a lot more than that. I think for us, because we're a decently high ticket thing, but pretty much everything else you book is more expensive than we are.
I
Um,
like Danny Jones's thing. He told me like
he doesn't
he
set
said.
off.
Yeah, he said
Yeah,
as long he doesn't care, he doesn't have a deadline. As long as the money's in his bank before he packs the van to go, do
yeah,
you know
yeah,
what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Just so you're
But
not like,
I'm doing the same thing, just without that sort of like delineation. Mine's like just a week before, no later
yeah,
than a
yeah,
week
yeah,
before. And it's
100%.
funny because when you're starting out, I think when you're taking smaller ticket work,
Yeah,
there's a bit of a, some people who have made poor choices and messed people around with work. So taking money off people and not shown or not engaged or whatever. That
yeah,
happens much less with weddings because there's obviously a lot more pressure and eyes on that sort of thing. But for private parties and stuff, we both know that people have kind of been paid and disappeared a bit and stuff. So I think there's a little bit of a reputation with musicians for smaller ticket work
yeah,
where
yeah.
people are hesitant to pay the full thing up front
This is
because
where
they don't know about
again,
trusting people, right?
100%. I think this is where again this whole social media thing does come into play. Is if you obviously the bigger following you have, first of all, the more trustworthy. I mean, I would say that if someone's got like 50,000 followers, they're probably not gonna run away from you. I mean, maybe they will, but like I'm not saying it's 100%, but I feel like that makes you more trustworthy because if you were
Yeah, I
really
think it's
upfront,
transparency, isn't it? Like when we've spoken about to be able to do the job that we're trying to do in the modern world as a
yeah,
professional,
100%.
to not have a clear, visible, current social media presence seems
Yeah,
absolutely fucking mental. How anyone other than people who've been in business so long that they have that client list, they have that mailing list, that they almost have their own channels where it's all sort of
The
compartmentalized.
only person I know is there's this American guy I follow. He does weddings every week,
Mhm.
but he doesn't have like he's got social media, but he doesn't post anything on it. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, how is this possible? And then I realized it's because that he has got over 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and he doesn't
But there you go.
post.
That's a social media thing, isn't it? I
No, but
guess
I
you
mean,
use it as a mailing list.
he literally just posts a cover video, right? Just a full format length, 3.5 minute cover video about once every couple of months. And he's probably got like about 20, 30 now on there. And I think a couple of them have popped off and got millions of views. And he's got like, and I think his whole sort of thing is like he's got like to book or whatever on his
Mm.
description on his YouTube videos, but he's got no other social media. You know what I mean? And it
When you
just
get
makes
to a critical mass of having 1 million followers, I think
yeah, yeah, I
some
think so.
things look after themselves, don't they?
Yeah, yeah,
But yeah, again, going back to that, like thinking about how to format things, because
mm,
one of the things we've talked about with some of the social content is to do short clips of
yep,
a
yeah, yeah,
verse and a chorus of a song, because
yep,
I mean, to some extent, the algorithm likes long videos that people might pay attention to. So you would maybe think about doing the full song,
yep,
but actually, people's attention spans are a lot less than that. And if you're trying to play the game a little bit, you keep your video under a minute,
yep,
something like that,
yep,
which gives you verse and chorus of a song.
yep,
But what might actually still work as a better workflow thing is filming essentially the full covers for YouTube. If you
yep.
think of it like how we do for the podcast, so
Literally, yeah.
we
Full covers.
film a
Great, yeah,
master large form piece of work and
yeah,
pull the clips
yeah,
out
yeah,
of that. I think
yeah,
that's how, for me, anyways, I can get my head into the workflow to
yeah,
get enough covers videos to be able
yeah.
to post regular rotational content like that.
I think the thing is for me though is that I've got a couple of things up on YouTube, but for me, when I'm doing like the full versions of songs and that, the kind of the producer in me, the almost like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is like I want to do this high
Has to
quality.
be crisp.
I've
There's
invested.
an in between. There's an in between where you can have it. I've done it with a few videos where you can have it feel live session,
Yeah.
but you just tweak it a bit after the fact. So
It's like the cameras and that. I'm always torn when I say go to record a cover or whatever. I'm
mhm,
like, do I use my phone or do I use my camera? And then half of me is like, I want to use the camera because from a
you bought
cinematography
it.
standpoint, from the light and stuff, it just looks amazing. You know what I mean? It looks and feels. And for me, if I'm consuming stuff, that's what I want.
Yeah.
However, obviously when sometimes on like people scrolling, like you said this before, it can feel like an advert, it can feel, you know what I mean,
Too
whatever.
glossy. Instagram likes glossy. On
Yeah, but
TikTok, it looks like an advert.
yeah, 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 I think so.
But I
But then
think there's,
I've had a couple of videos on TikTok that
yeah, that have been slightly glossier that have done quite well.
100%. I think as camera phones get better as well, the sort of threshold between what looks like a phone video and what
Yeah.
looks like a DSLR video or
It's
whatever
it's all
is
just lighting now. Like the
it's
phones are
all
good enough that it's all just lighting, pretty
100%.
much.
If you light a phone video correctly, I mean, we do our whole podcast
Podcast on
normally
my
on the
15.
phone,
It's not even
and
the newest phone.
yeah, and I watch it on my, big OLED TV, and it
It's still
looks
crispy.
just looks as good as any, all right, it's not like,
The most cinematic
yeah, it's not like a
style thing ever,
cinematography
but
masterclass by any chance, but
yeah,
it still looks 4K. It still looks crisp. You can easily watch it. You don't look at it and go, "Oh, it looks a bit blurry like a phone video."
yeah.
So I think that's the stage that we're at now, basically, with it. But you've got one gig this week,
Yeah, so it's Alex's mum's 50th this week. It was actually on
right?
Tuesday, but we're going
Okay,
away for a few days.
okay,
I feel like I've had such a stop-starty run of gigs
yeah,
through October, November.
yeah,
Um, which
Has it
is
not ruined your flow a bit? Like,
weird. Yeah, weirdly, yes and no. Flow wise, earnings wise, yes, absolutely.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
been interesting. Um, but it has also encouraged me to be really on top of my admin, and I am like
yeah,
so on top of my admin right
yeah.
now.
Getting the deposits in and that.
Yeah, basically. But the funny thing I had the weekend just gone, we haven't got loads of time left, but this has been
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
an inside baseball talking about how to
uh,
do fucking social media clips and stuff this week.
yeah.
Whatever. Um, I enjoyed gigging more this weekend than I have in years.
Okay,
Um, and I don't really know what it was. I kind of just came at it with a little bit of a feeling of the end of school for like breaking up for summer in my head a bit because I knew I was off this weekend
yeah,
and I'm still busy up until like Christmas run actually starts, but in my head I'd kind of like started to get to the end of the big lump of work this year.
yeah,
I'm starting to look into next year and stuff. So that weekend for me was kind of like about when I'm done with these gigs, I can kind of breathe again for the first time in a bit.
yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
and I just had really good crowds all weekend. Slightly funny gigs. I think when we have the variety of work that we do, the one I'm thinking about specifically was I did a private party on Saturday night, and it was a house party,
Yeah,
um, but it was essentially set up in someone's kitchen, like a
yeah.
kitchen
I've seen a
disco.
clip of it. It looked amazing. Yeah,
But weirdly, like if you think about how glamorous some of our work can be, being flown to places or going to like these mad wedding venues and that,
yeah,
um, there's still some real good stuff and good energy and good vibes to be found in
yeah.
doing house
Cool.
parties and stuff. It's like the real front line of gigging, that sort of stuff. And in my head, I kind of went, this feels a bit weird being in someone's kitchen, just setting up and like going for it.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
feels weird, but
yeah,
if it was 3 months ago, they would have just put it in a tent in the garden, and that wouldn't have
yeah,
felt
yeah.
weird. So
100%. Yeah,
it's only the time of year that's making it weird, not the
yeah,
actual
yeah,
situation
yeah.
itself. And I managed to get into a really good headspace to go into all of these gigs kind of enthused and looking forward to it and being like, I'm here to make everyone have a good time.
Yeah,
No amount of like going in and just figuring it out as I'm going, literally going in and being like, I'm setting up, I'm going to play some loud tunes, we're all going to go for it. And I
yeah,
did that on every gig this weekend, just gone. And I've
yeah.
had so much fun. I've absolutely loved gigging again this weekend.
See,
Um,
I have had, I'll round this off with my
yeah,
sort of,
go on.
I have had a pretty opposite situation whereby, I mean, on Friday,
Pulling your hair out.
was playing a public gig, as you know, got there and it was back to one of my first times playing a pub gig. They were very I mean, look, it is what it is. It's a pub, I get it, but the managers were very much like already on the phone, like messaging me on saying, "Would you be able to bring some people down and things to the gig?" And it's like
Tricky.
already you're just like, oh, like I haven't missed this, like playing in
Yeah,
the
yeah.
and the thing is, as well, is like, and I don't mean this in a pretentious way whatsoever, but like, I didn't need to do those gigs. I took them because it was filling the last 3 dates I had left in
Yeah.
my diary, and it just felt nice and round to be like, I'm working every day of the weekend for the rest of the year. So I took them, but they were like very much like, can you bring people? And I was like, oh, and then I got there, nobody was there. It was absolutely dead. So I was just like, oh God, played the gig. Like, and I was like,
No
this
one
feels
really feels good coming out of that, do
yeah.
they?
And it's like when you've spent the whole summer playing like weddings, playing abroad, and you've played abroad, you've done all this stuff, and it's like wow, and you kind of like, and then you go back to that.
It's a
It,
real
it
come down.
scared me, and I was like, I don't want to go back to this. Like, I know this sounds bad, but like I've done this for 10 years.
Yeah. It makes you feel
It's like telling a
like you're
Premier
back at the
League.
start
It's like
again.
telling a Premier League football player you're going back to the fifth division, and it's like, but I've worked so hard over the years to work my way up, and basically, anyway, round it off at the end, and they literally come up to me, typical pub gig fashion, and said, "Oh, we've got no money in the till. Can we bank transfer you the money next week?" So I was like, "Yeah, that's
Four
fine."
weeks later.
Gets in touch with them on the Monday about it, and they say,
Oh.
would it be okay if the next time you're here, which is ironically this week to be fair, so but they were like, would it be okay if the next time you're here we pay you? And I was like, yeah, I suppose.
It's
But like
really hard that because
all
they
this
didn't pay you last time. What means they're going to pay
yeah,
you this
and it's like
time?
all this messing, and it's like when you get used to the weddings, the parties where people are paying you in up front, you don't even leave your house until you have all your money. It's going back to that pub thing, which look, I get it. 90% of probably people listening to the podcast, people who do this job, that's where the space they work. But it's more, I'm more just saying it in a sense of like I like the pub gigs. It's boss playing to like people and the atmosphere is there and that, but they just really need to book their ideas up with like how they deal with musicians and acts because
Yeah.
the comparison on the two sides of the industry between weddings, private parties, corporate, and then just pubs and things like that is just night and day. And
Yeah.
and it gets to the point where
They feel like completely different jobs, don't they?
I used to love the pub gigs, and now I'm at the point where I just don't want to do them anymore at all, and it's like
Unless you
there's
find that, I think, unless you find the ones where it's all
yeah, yeah,
agreeable,
yeah.
there's
There's
that
certain
understanding.
venues
Yeah.
that I know them well, or I've whatever, and that they'll look after you. It's
Yeah.
great. But for like, I'm almost kind of a bit apprehensive now. If a new public venue gets in touch, I'm just a bit like, you know what I mean? I've got my regular places I like to play, and the rest of my diary fills with privates.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm at the minute. Like, a bit depressed about
Well,
that.
maybe the industry needs a agency to book musicians for places where it's run by musicians. That would be interesting, wouldn't it?
Very professional people. Yeah, absolutely. Only
Every gig that I've done that I've hosted,
yeah,
deliberately, I try and make it the best for the musicians first. So paid well,
100%.
decent
Yeah,
crowd,
you've got to look
decent
after each other.
setup, because you're going to get good performance from people if they're into the gig.
100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I'm the same. It's you've got to look after each other. I mean, the at the end of the day, the one thing I've noticed is the bars, the public venues, they really don't care. They only have you there to bring people in, so they make money, and it needs to change. If they want, and then they moan that like acts are unreliable, and they moan that acts aren't very good, but they're not going to put effort in if you're not paying them right. If you're
Yeah,
not
or if it's bank transfer 3 weeks after and stuff.
100%. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's the end of our rant about that, I suppose.
But anyway, good time to book in all your pub gigs for next year.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
Right. I
We're gonna have
guess
to jump off. We're gonna carry on because we've got quite a lot of other stuff to sort out behind the scenes. It's a
100%.
little bit of a holding episode again this week, but we're working on quite a lot of stuff that we will be announcing soon.
Yeah.
All right,
100%.
sound.
Right. Okay.
Bye on this, and we'll jump on to something else.
Okay.
Bye for
Yeah.
now. Bye for now.